Welcome to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and creator of the Build Your Reiki Business program, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Greetings, welcome, and thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. This episode is part number 2 of a 2-part episode on protection. The previous episode was on physical protection in our Reiki business. This episode is on energetic protection. Now, this is a popular topic in our Reiki community. And we're going to be wrapping up this idea of protection, bringing it back to the physical protection of the previous episode. Now, if you missed that episode, the link is down below where you can tune in to listen to that one as well. On our Reiki journey, we often have questions about energy in terms of coming up against negative energy or scary or challenging energy in our sessions and in our practice. And we'll talk about that. But I want to take a broader, more expansive view of energetic protection in this episode, because when we say energetic protection, we're usually talking about protecting ourselves against negative energy that we might experience or feel in a session, something like psychic attack or something like that, energetic attack. But there's more to it than that. Even if you don't consider or are concerned about that energetic kind of attack in a session, still energetic protection is important in some way, shape, or form, because our energy is something as simple as how we feel, the kind of energy that we are emitting, and even our own self-care kind of energy. So there's a lot to say on this topic. But I believe that energetic protection begins with self-reflection. It begins with reflection and asking ourselves, what kind of energy are we bringing? Usually when we talk about energetic protection, we're talking about protecting ourselves from others. But we really need to ask ourselves, does anyone need protecting from me? What kind of energy am I bringing to the sessions, to my practice, to my interactions, even outside of the sessions? No one thinks that they're the one bringing the negative energy, but indeed, you may very well be and not even realize it. So the first thing I want to encourage us to do is some self-reflection. Are we the ones bringing negative energy? Are we the ones sending out the bad vibes? Are we the ones who people need to protect against? So that's first and foremost. Number 2, I believe that energetic protection in all of its forms begins with our own self-practice, and that through our own self-practice, we are cultivating our own energy, and that when we do that, this idea of protecting ourselves becomes less and less of a concern. And so if in our own practice, we are practicing self-Reiki, we are striving to follow the precepts, we are working every day to live a high vibe, aligned, and authentic life, one that's full of compassion and kindness, one that attempts to live increasingly in alignment with Reiki, well, then we know when it comes to negative energy, Just for today, I will not worry. Now, I'll say more about this in a little bit, but energetic protection also begins before the session with number 3, the setting of boundaries. Now, in the episode on physical protection, I talked about the importance of energetic protection also begins before the session with number 3, the setting of boundaries. Now, in the episode on physical protection, I talked about the importance of clear professional boundaries as a way to help us with physical protection. And the truth is, it helps with energetic protection as well. Energetic and physical protection are aligned. They're separate, but they're connected. And so the things that we do to help protect ourselves physically help to protect ourselves energetically and vice versa. But setting boundaries with clients is very helpful for our own energetic protection, maintaining our own energetic self-care, and also helping the client to navigate those experiences with us as well. So boundaries aren't just for us, they're for the client too. Now, I have an episode on boundaries. I'm going to drop the link to that podcast episode down below so you can tune in there for more about boundaries. But boundaries in the form of those clear policies that clients are aware of, and those clear energetic boundaries for yourself of not over helping like we might have a tendency to do sometimes. Like not answering the phone at 2 a.m. when your client calls with a question. So now when it comes to this idea of protecting against negative energy in a session, there are a few things I want to say about it. First and foremost, I truly believe that when it comes to energetic protection, the best defense is a really good offense. What I mean by that is that rather than defending against and protecting against negative energy, I believe in this idea of cultivating our own energy and emanating positive energy. We know that like attracts like. And when we put out the negative energy, we're going to get back the negative energy. When we put out the negative energy, we have a greater chance of perceiving negative energy around us, of being sensitive to the negative energies around us. And so this is where that self-reflection piece comes in. What energy are you putting out? What energy are you bringing? What energy are you emanating and therefore attracting? Now, I'm not here to say that negative energy doesn't ever enter into a Reiki session. And I'm not here to say that if you just raise your vibe, you're never ever going to have a problem. Maybe, but you may also run into some instances in your sessions where you feel unsafe. Now, whether that's actually about any negative energy or psychic attack at all, or it's just simply about your perception, it actually doesn't matter. Because the truth is that perception goes a long way towards shaping our reality, right? And that if we feel unsafe, then it's important for us to take steps to feel safe, whether we're actually unsafe or not. I personally, in my Reiki sessions, don't feel unsafe. And I view the energetic quote unquote exchange in a Reiki session in the same exact way as I do in a conversation. I'm also a card reader. I view it the same way in card reading. And when people ask me, how do I protect myself in a card reading? How do I protect myself in a Reiki session? How do I protect my energy? I think of it in the same kind of way of how do I protect myself in a conversation? Because we don't think about it, but the truth is that sometimes we might go out into public and feel that we need to protect ourselves in public. And maybe we don't think about it, but a Reiki session can be similar to an experience in which we're at the grocery store and we're waiting in line, and the person in front of us is very upset, very agitated, they're impatient, the line is taking too long, and that impacts us. We feel that, and that maybe impacts our own mood, our own energy. And usually we don't say something like, oh my gosh, I need to put the white bubble, the blue bubble around myself when I go out to the grocery store. We think of it when we go into a Reiki session, but I really don't see those as very different. Some people will say, no, 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 when you're in a Reiki session, you're really exchanging energy with the other person. Okay, maybe, but you are too when you're out at the grocery store or having a conversation. And so if you feel the need for protection when you go out to the grocery store or you have a conversation with someone, that's okay. And if you feel the need for protection when you are in a Reiki session or a card reading or anything else, that's okay too. Reiki isn't judging us for our feelings of needing protection. Reiki, the energy, isn't judging us. But for me personally, I don't feel the need to do any kind of an elaborate protection ritual. And that's okay. And if a practitioner feels the need for an elaborate ritual, that's okay too. Reiki isn't judging you. Let's not judge one another. Let's also recognize that we all need to do this or feel the call to do this to varying extents. And so let's not judge one another for where we might fall on that continuum. You know, we can say, well, protection isn't part of the system of Reiki. You know, doing things like putting yourself into a blue or white bubble of light or calling on your angels isn't part of the system of Reiki. True. And let's not forget that the system of Reiki does have the practice of Kenyoku-ho, dry bathing, which is a clearing, an energetic clearing kind of practice. It's a very simple practice. It's a very beautiful practice. And there it is in the system of Reiki. But here are some things that you can do if you feel the need for more protection, if you feel the need to protect your energy in a Reiki session or a card reading or going out to the grocery store. Number one, it's very important that your ritual, the thing that you do, is personal. Something that you create and that feels right to and aligned with you. Something that resonates with you personally. And so if someone says to you, oh, you want to protect yourself, picture yourself in a bubble of blue light. And then you're thinking, but wait, I feel like it should be golden light. Well, that's okay. Put yourself in golden light. Whatever feels right to and resonates with you is what really matters. Now, I will say that at the beginning of my Reiki sessions, I do an invocation. I typically do this with drumming. Of course, I make sure to let my clients know that this is not part of the system of Reiki, but it feels right to and aligned with me and for me, and I make sure that it feels aligned to my clients as well. But in this invocation, I call in the four directions, call in our guides, call in angels, beings of love and light. Now, some might say, oh, that's a protection thing. Okay, sure, absolutely. But for me, it's really setting the space as a sacred space. And then at the end of this invocation, I invite the client to set their own intention if they choose. Of course, that's a whole other discussion. Reiki does not need intentions, and the intentions are for us. And so some might say, oh, well, that's your protection, Christian. That's your protection mantra. Okay, sure. However you want to define it. It's just something that I have done since the beginning in my Reiki sessions. I don't do it for every single session, but it is something that I do like to do to set that sacred space. But for me, that's it. I don't have any kind of protection ritual, clearing ritual before or after the session. And some listeners might think, some practitioners might think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I can't believe you do that. You're opening yourself up to so much negative energy. But am I? Remember, the best defense when it comes to our energetic protection is a really good offense. And I play really good offense. But again, it needs to be personal. It needs to be something that resonates with you. I personally do really have a close relationship with and identify with Archangel Michael. And so anytime I feel unsafe, no matter where I might be or what's going on, I'll call on Archangel Michael. Or, like, if I leave my car in a place where I'm nervous about it, I'll call on Archangel Michael to protect it, or my house when I go away. And so I call on Archangel Michael for assistance and protection. I also like to call on the Hindu goddess Durga. And so I'll call on Durga. There was a particular time in my life where I had a living situation where there was a lot of perceived negative energy. It wasn't even negative energy itself, but it felt negative to me, and it was impacting my own energy. I called on Durga. She's got a great mantra that I love chanting. And that resonates with me as well. But make it personal to you and turn it into some kind of ritual. So something that you do again and again and again, because ritual is very powerful to the brain. Ritual signals change to the brain, and ritual actually changes the brain. And so as those pathways become ingrained, as soon as we start that ritual, we start to feel the positive effects from it. So let's say that your ritual before a session is to do the dry bathing and put your hands in gasho and picture yourself in a bubble of blue light. Let's say that's your ritual, your protection ritual before every single session. Well, as soon as you start that hand sliding down the arm of Kenyoku Ho, that triggers in your brain those positive, safe, grounded, protected feelings. So doing your protection ritual again and again as a ritual that you do in the same way each time becomes ingrained in your brain and integrated into your experience. And so that as soon as you start it, boom, your brain is like, I'm in it. Now, there are lots and lots of tips for energetic protection, picturing your feet with roots grounding into the earth, and the bubbles of light, and the angels, and the sage, and all of it. But none of it matters unless or until you make it matter to you. Now, some final things I want to say about protection in order to wrap this all up is that if something should happen to you in a session with a client, physical, energetic, or otherwise, I want to please, please, please encourage you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And so if you feel negative energy during a session, if you see something come up, you may be thinking, oh no, I should have grounded more. I should have protected more. I should have, I should have, I should have. Or if you're in a session with a client and you start to feel physically unsafe and you start to think, oh no, I never should have booked with this client. I should have known better. I should have, I should have, I should have. I want to encourage you, please, please, please do not blame yourself. Please, please release any judgment of yourself. Please do not feel that you could have or should have done more or differently. Because the truth is, we can do all of the things. We can take all of the protective measures, the setting of the clear boundaries, the having clear policies, putting up cameras at our entrance, telling someone where we're going, putting ourselves in a bubble of white light, carrying ourselves with badass confident energy. We can do all of those things and still have times when we feel unsafe, or still have times when we have a negative experience. And so no matter what we might do to try to prevent and protect ourselves physically and energetically, things can happen. Things do happen. And it's not your fault if they do. And so practitioners, I want to encourage us, please. I see this very often in social media comments where someone will say something about, oh, I had this negative vision during a session. And practitioners will jump in and say, did you ground yourself? Did you protect yourself? You should have done this. You should have done that. I want to encourage us, please, let's not say those kinds of things to one another. It's not helpful. Please, let's bring understanding. Let's bring care and compassion and kindness to one another when it comes to physical and energetic protection. Well, when it comes to anything, but definitely when it comes to physical and energetic safety and protection. Let's not judge one another for the steps that we might need or feel we need to take in order to feel physically and energetically protected. Let's not judge ourselves. Let's not judge one another. Remember, Reiki, the energy, is not judging us. So let's not judge one another. So, how do you protect yourself energetically in a session? Do you protect yourself energetically? Do you feel the need to do that? What does it look like to you? Drop it in the comments. Let us know. Share it with us. Join us in the Reiki Business Collective Facebook group and tell us all about it at facebook.com/groups/ReikiBiz. Sending so many blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Thanks for tuning in to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend. Learn more about the Build Your Reiki Business program at standingstoneshealing.com/build. Sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.